I, 17F, am the oldest of three, living with my two siblings, 14F and 10M, and our mother. Our father left when my brother was born, and afterwards, we moved states closer to family for help. Since then, I've been helping my mom raise my siblings the best I can. We've had family come over to help when I was busy and my mom was at work, but for the most part, it was just the four of us. When we moved, I was placed back in school as soon as possible. I've always been quieter than most, and living in a new state only made the social awkwardness worse. But eventually, I met another girl around my age, and we started to become good friends. The girl, let's call her Alana, and I started doing a lot together. It only took a couple of years, if not less, to be considered like family. A little over 5 months ago, Alana and I started dating. We took it very slow and kept it to ourselves. Last month, when we hit 5 months, she convinced me to tell my mom. My mom was fine with the ex-boyfriends I've had, and based on prior comments, she seemed to support the rainbow community, so last Sunday I decided to tell her. Alana spent the night because she wanted to be with me when I told my mom. So in the morning, we both sat her down with us at the dining room table. When we told her, saying she freaked out would be an understatement. She said all sorts of angry things at us. My girlfriend and I tried to keep our cool, but before the conversation was over, I was in tears and she was clearly pissed. That was the only time I've ever sworn at my mother. I left the house for a few hours because I needed to relax and calm down before making any hasty decisions. When I returned later, I opened the door to see my suitcase packed and sitting next to the couch. I took the hint, grabbed it, and left again. I've been staying with Alana since, but it's difficult because her parents don't know about us either, and they just know my mom and I got into an argument. This week, my phone's been blowing up with family members criticizing me for leaving my siblings and mom like that. I can only assume they've been given one half of the story, but maybe I'm wrong. My mom hasn't called or messaged since. I feel sorry, but at the same time, I don't know if she understands how she hurt me. Update 1. Thank you everybody who sent some sweet comments my way last week. I appreciate all the support. Even some of the more controversial comments provided great insight. I took a lot of these to heart and went to see if I could fix things. Firstly, I called my father. Our relationship is strained, being separated and not seeing each other often, but he's made it to some of my bigger events since the divorce. Double digits, sweet 16, mostly birthday stuff but sometimes other things. He never wanted us to move away, just felt he couldn't handle a third kid at the time. Anyway, I digress. I called him, and it went to voicemail. I found myself crying into the phone as I relived the past 2 weeks, but I made sure to word it as mom kicked me out because I have a girlfriend. He called back a few hours later and said he'd see what he can do to help and will keep me updated, and asked me to do the same. Secondly, on Tuesday, I talked to Alana about us telling her parents. Between people saying I should to get their support and those saying I shouldn't in fear of more backlash, it wasn't an easy choice. I was hoping, worst case scenario, my dad would be able to help, and in the best case, we'd have 3 adults rooting for us. She was hesitant, seeing how things went with my mom, but ultimately agreed. We sat her parents down similarly to my mom. When I say we, I really mean she did most of the talking. I was still worried things would go wrong. She started off by simply explaining why I've been here for over a week during class finals. We tried coming out to my mom, which created an argument and led to me getting kicked out. Her father said he wished we had told him sooner and, I'm sorry for failing you too, for making this feel like an unsafe place to be who you are. Alana's stepmom and dad talked for a few minutes before coming back with new rules. They wanted their couch back. If that meant dusting off the air mattress from when we were kids, or just getting some extra blankets, they didn't really care. We could do our thing, so long as it wasn't illegal and we didn't get into trouble. But that being said, since I was now under their roof in a slightly less temporary way, I have to start following the same rules Alana did. Curfew, grades, things like that, all of which I agreed to. Her parents are going to take us back to my house today. I want to give my mom another chance. I mean, I don't get how you can just walk away from someone after your entire life. I'm either going to get the documents I need, or my mom back. In the latter case, I still don't know if I'm going to go back to sleeping there quite yet as I'm still hurt. After talking to my sister, she understands and would rather me stay away if needed. My brother's a little confused, but says he just wants us all to be happy. Thank you all again for your overwhelming support and advice. Edit. This was something I wanted to clarify in this post if I wasn't limited to 3,000 characters after seeing people's reactions to the first post. Alana wanted the two of us to start coming out together, that's why she was with me when we first told my mom. My mom seemed supportive, and her parents never really hinted one way or another until we told them. Telling one supportive person is easier than trying to tell 2 unknown people. Neither of us knew how it would go, so I don't fault her. She feels awful about it still, but I'm trying to reassure her that there was no way of knowing. Update 2. Good evening friends and enemies, all 209 of you who followed this account looking for an update. Luckily I was able to remember my password again, so I can keep you posted on the things that have happened over the last 5 months. All the comments talking about legal action, well, none of those really got much input from me. It just seemed like so much at the time, And I knew the best way I could help my siblings was to be their escape when they needed me, but also not do anything to leave their residency as questionable as mine. Elena and I are still together and very happy. We should be hitting 11 months at the end of this month, by far the longest and most authentic relationship either of us has been in. It's had some rough moments with family drama and all, but frankly, I wouldn't trade it for the world. She even had me pitch in my thoughts when redecorating her room this summer, trying to make it feel more like our room, I guess lol. Her family has been incredibly sweet as well. I feel like I've been such an inconvenience, but they hardly seem to notice, or at least try not to let me think I am. An aunt or grandparent sibling here and there will not agree with our lifestyle, but they don't get humored much by the rest of them. Heaven knows our biggest fighter is right by my side half the time. My dad's been trying to help the best he can. There's little he really can do after all, but he's trying. I don't know how much he's talking to my mother in all this, if at all, but I still appreciate his efforts. Kinda wish it didn't take this to hear from him more, but it's nice to know he's still looking out for me after all these years. My sister and I have been doing things more now that school started back up. I try to help her with her homework, or just hang out to help blow off some steam. She still wishes I were home for all of this, but knows she wouldn't be either if she were in my shoes. She's also been keeping me up to date with my brother, he's starting to understand things more. But she also told me something I don't think I can forget. She told me about my mom. My mom's not taking things so well. According to my sister, she's a mess. Not as happy as she used to be is the easy way of putting it. She's still taking care of my sister and brother, trying not to let it affect them, but she's noticeably not well. Apparently, my sister has caught her lingering by my door a couple of times. But she still hasn't messaged me since our falling out. Well, apparently, there's been a lot of miscommunication. My mother packed my suitcase after our fight, yes. However, she seems to recall hearing me say something about leaving before I stormed off. After she calmed down and processed her emotions, she packed a case and wrote a note. The note was supposed to be on the coffee table next to my suitcase, I just must have missed it. My sister paraphrased the note, but she recalls it saying something along the lines of my mother apologizing for the argument, saying she hopes I can forgive her, but if not, she wanted to make it easier for me to not be stuck in such an awful home for any longer than I needed to. This had me confused because if that were the case, why didn't she ever text or call me? Not even a letter or email? Why did nobody else know of this note until my sister found out a couple of weeks ago? What about the initial family blowback? I'm honestly quite confused. It's been some time though, so I might try to re-establish some contact with my mother again to get some answers for myself. I don't know what I'll do with them, if anything. I might update you again, I might not. Only time will tell. Thank you all for your support with the initial 2 posts of my melodrama, take care.